everyone, welcome back to Floral Fusion, where we fuse the art of floral design with a trend in the industry. This is episode number 8, which means we are now in the month of August. So for this month, I'm going to teach you how to make a dry floral arrangement, a one-sided dry floral arrangement that you can place in your home or give away as a gift. And what's nice about the dry floral arrangements are that they really last forever. I mean, once you put it together, you can place it somewhere and it'll last for a really long time. And so this month we're going to be inspired by color forecasting. So what does color forecasting mean? Really, when we look at fashion and when we look at design, when we look at art, our environment really influences us in terms of what the color forecasting is going to be. So what we see on Instagram or what we see in terms of the design industry and how that's changing with COVID really has an influence on color forecasting and color trends. So I'm super excited to show you, the color palettes for 2020 or how that color forecasting has changed from January now all the way up until August. You're going to see that the colors are a little bit more subdued, but they really have more of a basis of how people are behaving during COVID, how the inner creativity of people are coming out, and how these color trends are focusing more on inner reflection and well-being. So I'm super excited to start. Let's go. All right, so in my collection today, I have some wood flowers. I have some various grasses. These are called bunny tails. They're super cute. And then I have some starflower and some eucalyptus. Now, dried flowers might not always be the easiest to work with. They tend to break apart sometimes, and really all I'm going to use are these clippers, and I have all of my supply here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start putting this one-sided arrangement together. This is what my vase looks like. So it's just a really simple low vase. It actually has a wide mouth to it. And when I say one-sided arrangement, it really means that I'm going to place this somewhere against a wall so that you're only going to see one side of it. And typically with one-sided arrangements, you see the focal flowers or larger flowers towards the base and the taller flowers towards the back. So let's get started. All I'm going to do is just start gathering flowers together. Very similar to the first episode where we made a bouquet. But again, dry flowers are a little bit harder to work with. They tend to break apart. Their stems are pretty long. But we're just going to start grabbing, and these can kind of be towards the back. And then these little bunny tails, I'm just going to start putting in little bunches. And as I go, I'm going to trim the stems because, it tends to get in the way a little bit if I don't. Now, these are really pretty, these little blue flowers here. And as you can see, these colors are very subtle and they relate to the design trends, the color forecasting trends that I shared with you earlier. And those color forecasting trends, just for your reference, are from Dunn Edwards. So they come out with a great design blog. I highly recommend you check it out. So I did put these towards the front, the blue flowers towards the front, so you can see them. And I'm just going to keep adding on to this. Again, if you go just stem by stem, it's going to take a long time, right? Because the stems are really thin. So I'm going to go ahead and cut these. So I'm already starting to create my shape. Taller in the back, shorter in the front. You can kind of see what that's starting to look like now. I'm going to put more of my eucalyptus here. The bunny tails give it some great texture. So I'm just going to keep adding as I go. To the floral arrangement are the largest flower, which are the wood flowers here. Now you have to be careful because sometimes the bloom or blossom on the top can break off. They're pretty delicate. I would say dry flowers in general are pretty delicate. So just keep that in mind. So I'm going to put this towards the base, and that creates a really nice balance. And I'm just going to continue doing that until I'm happy with the way it looks, and then I'll go ahead and cut the stems. Again, remember from episode 1, when I was teaching you how to make a hand-wrapped bouquet, always kind of poke through if you need to. Makes it easier. I like to work with odd numbers, so I'm going to put 3 wood flowers in the front base of the arrangement. Notice how it's one-sided. I'm only going to see it from this side, so I really only have to worry about these kind of being shorter towards the front. So I'm just going to poke this through until I get it at a height that I like. And you can mess around with it, but I think it looks pretty good, just like that. So I'm going to add a little bit more to make it fuller now. All right, so I'm all done putting my dry floral arrangement together. The next step is going to be cutting the stems. So when I look at the height of my vase and I look at this arrangement, looks like we can take off plenty off the bottom, okay? Then we're going to use a rubber band to keep the bouquet together so that we can simply plop it in the vase. Just like episode 1. If you haven't seen episode 1, which teaches you how to make a hand-wrapped bouquet that you can plop in a vase, go ahead and look that video up because it's a great reference for how to do that. Just FYI too, your hands are going to get pretty dirty handling the dry flowers. But it's okay. A little dirt never hurt anybody. There I go, cutting my stems. And you know what? Before I cut it any shorter, we're going to put a rubber band around the base, okay? Got my rubber band here. So I'm going to slide it through, up and through the stems. and then just wrap it around and come back underneath. You gotta be careful because they're pretty frail and they break pretty easy. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut a little bit more off the bottom here. So when I'm done, it should look something like this. Floral Fusion fun fact number 7. So when I started doing some research on dry floral arranging, a lot came up about the Victorian era. So there were really a lot of interesting decorative elements. People would press flowers, people would wear flowers, and they all symbolized different things. And then it kind of got me thinking about how the Victorian era relates to kind of what we're going through today, where the past is meeting the future. We're all getting in touch with this different part of ourselves that wants to do things with our hands and create things to relieve some of the angst and anxiety during COVID. So some examples of what we're doing to relieve those inner angst feelings. We are baking, we are knitting, and we are creating things, whether it be trying to dye your own clothes or whether we start seeing things as design trends in the design industry, such as large floral prints. We're definitely starting to see some of the future meeting the past and the past meeting the future. We're kind of going back to our roots in a way. All right, guys, so thank you for watching episode 8 of Floral Fusion, and we will see you in September.